welcome back. Another fortnight has passed. 2 weeks, that is. And we now have a new free rotation on Fab Marketplace. So to get these assets, you need to go to fab.com, limited time free, and then you can see that we have Gaea or Gaea, Sci-Fi, Modular, Hover Vehicles, and Western Desert Town. This time around, as you can see here, we have a lot of 5s for these assets. This time around, you probably do want to stick around and check these out because these assets are going to be more desirable to pick up than we have had in assets previously on the Fab Marketplace. So make sure you do that and pick that. Well, both watch the video and pick them up, of course. These assets, to get them, all you need to do is go inside of them. And inside here you choose a license and then you add it to cart or purchase directly. And you have two choices. You have a professional or a personal license. To be safe, you can just choose the professional license. It should give you more coverage than the personal one does. That way you don't have to think about it. And the professional one is actually quite pricey when it comes to some of these assets. This asset in particular, which is from Kitbash 3D, is $800 of their own setting of the price. So yeah, that's how it is, and you get to keep them, you get to use them forever, as long as you get them within this 2-week period before the next rotation starts. So yeah, let's take a look at these in more detail. First out, we have the Western Desert Town with construction tool from Buford Studios. And here we have the demonstration levels. You have a bit of a church here, you have a bit of a cave entrance here with some railroad tracks going into it. And you then have a few different buildings in this town as well here. So, including a saloon. So you have a bunch of different buildings. You have enough here to create what seems to be at least a somewhat diverse sort of western town with this. And inside of this asset pack, besides just the map that we have created here and all of the different parts, so you can like sort of dissect how they have done it, you can also go into the blueprint folder for this project, and you can see that they have a bunch of different blueprints here that make it easy for you to sort of construct these things on the fly without having to like go into the nitty-gritty if you don't want to. So to demonstrate one of this, we can just bring out a building here. So this is what we get with a building. It's just a building without any sort of entrance or windows or anything like that. And we have a bunch of different parameters that we can play around with here. So we can change around the width and the length and the height of this building. And yeah, so now we see that we have a sort of house coming along here. We have things like we can change around the framing types of the edges of the building. We can change the roof type with checkboxes. So we see that we have a few different options available to us when it comes to those kind of things. We can set a front wall here so we get sort of an entrance. We can change how lengthy the floor is supposed to be on the outside from the entrance to the building. We can enable balconies if we want to. We can change the top wall type. So you have a few different options for that as well. Essentially, you have a bunch of different scripts running for you in a blueprint that allows you to sort of get a modular sort of building look to it based on these things. So that's what you get, all of these parts and these construction scripts to create these different modular parts if you want to make use of that instead of handcrafting it yourself. So that's the first part. Moving on, we're going to be going to the overview map. Let's not save that. So this is the overview map for the desert town, and we can see the different parts that are included inside of this. So we can see there's a bunch of different things here. There are some really weird things, like these things here. These say that they're straight walls and they look super weird. These are used inside of the tunnel area that we didn't explore too much, but just looked a little bit into. It was sort of dark. In addition to that, we can also see that we have a bunch of roofs, walls, parts, and stuff. So something to note is that all of these assets are exterior only. There's nothing really inside of them to look at. Let's go into unlit mode. So you can see here, we're just inside the boxes. These are only exterior models to be used. So yeah, that's what you get inside of his. Now you might be seeing over here that we have something else as well. And yes, so this is Gaea. This is another of the assets, and this one is from Kitbash 3D, and is one of the main reasons why you want to get this asset pack this time around, because Kitbash 3D is a site that has a lot of large scale, high quality assets available for you to get from a whole range of different categories, genres, and just styles overall. This one feels like sort of a, I don't know, Lord of the Rings, elvish kind of architecture, personally. It's very elegant and flamboyant and just extreme in its like detailing. So I'm assuming that might be something of the inspirations here. So with this, I don't believe that we will be getting any of these in the future. I do believe that this is an attempt of Kitbash 3D to get some attention to their store and their different other assets. So this is probably the only one we will be able to get in the free rotation. I might be wrong, and hopefully I am wrong, because I'm sure it would be a lot of goodwill towards the Unreal Engine community. But yeah, so these are priced fairly high, and they are very high detail, very high quality. So for that reason alone, I think that you should really pick up this time around asset rotation. Anyway, moving on. So lastly, we have the Sci-Fi modular military hover vehicles, and this is made by Thunder Owl Studios. And yeah, so what you get in this pack are a bunch of different hover tank like vehicles that well, hover, and they have different amounts of armaments on them. So that's where the modular part comes in. You can have different types of missiles or guns or parts on top of these different crafts, and they can have different materials applied to them so that they give a bit of different looks between themselves. Now, that is what you get in the pack, in addition to maybe a few details like a few sound effects and a few visual effects and things like that. What you will not be getting in this is a competent hovercraft vehicle that you can steer around with or anything like that. This is merely a visual thing, and then you do something with it. To demonstrate this, we can go to the playground over here. So this over here is the playground where we can make use of a few of these different tanks and play around with them essentially. So what I've done is, instead of what this level to begin with had just a flat surface, I added a bit of a landscape with just some very slight sloping terrain into it. And yeah, let's just see. So here we are in the level. We can press 1 to control a tank, and now we are inside of this tank. You can see that we can fire some missiles and we can fire a laser depending on where we're aiming with our mouse. So that's some functionality, and you can see that we have some controls of the hovercraft moving around as we turn left and right, which indicates the direction that we're sort of going towards. All of that is fine. The hovercraft itself is incredibly sluggish, so it's not something you could use as sort of like immediately like an arcadey hovercraft or anything like that. And if you were to try to traverse any kind of terrain, yeah, you can see we can't even get over this slight hill here. It just doesn't handle at all. And if we interact with objects, we easily get bumped around, and then yeah, it doesn't work very well. The reason this is so simplistic and doesn't work very well is because that is what it is. This is a super simple little blueprint component with some basic parameters to get a sort of hovercraft. I'm doing quotation marks, you can see that of course, but in the air, but that's essentially what it does. So nothing advanced here at all, and nothing super cool or anything like that. The thing that you should be taking away from this is that you get mainly these vehicles, and that's what you get. And if that's something that you want to make use of, be prepared that you need to do something else for the actual hovercraft steering, because that will not suit any kind of game I can possibly think of. But yeah, that's all we're getting this time around. Hopefully this is something that you feel that you want to pick up. Maybe not this specific pack in particular, but the whole assortment that we get presented this time around. Because there are some things that are quite high quality and has been quite an improvement upon the giveaways that we've had since, well, I would say since Fab took over the marketplace actually. Anyway, that's going to be all for now. Keep on learning. Take care. A big thank you to all of you who like, comment, subscribe and share my videos, or through other means support this channel. You are what makes this channel grow and become a resource for other people to learn from.